Yo, so something just dropped that has the entire internet completely shook right now. And I mean completely shook. Because for weeks, the narrative has been simple. Stefon Diggs fumbled Cardi B, Cardi walked away unbothered, end of story. But what's coming out now is flipping the whole script. Because sources are suggesting that Stefon Diggs is apparently doing something that a lot of people genuinely thought would never happen. Something that honestly changes the entire energy of this situation. And before I get into what that is, you need to understand the full journey that brought us to this moment, because what's supposedly happening didn't come overnight. It came after weeks of loss, isolation, and a man allegedly being forced to look himself in the mirror and face exactly what he destroyed. So stick around, because this story is about to go somewhere you did not see coming. Alright, so let's set the scene, because context is everything. February 8th, 2026, Super Bowl Sunday, the night that changed absolutely everything. The Patriots are facing the Seahawks at Levi's Stadium. Stefon's supposed to be the man, the wide receiver with Cardi B in his corner, hyping him up every single week all season long. But something is already off before the first snap even happens. A reporter catches Cardi before the game and asks for a message to Stefon. And instead of the energy, instead of the ride or die cheerleader she'd been all season, Cardi just says, "Good luck," with the coldest, most emotionless delivery you've ever seen, and walks away. No smile, no warmth, nothing. Just two words that told the whole world something was already broken. And the internet immediately knew. Because when your loudest supporter goes that cold, something has already happened behind closed doors that the cameras haven't seen yet. Then the game itself is an absolute disaster. Patriots lose 29-13. Stefon is basically invisible, 0 touchdowns, barely a factor on the biggest stage of his career. But the real chaos is happening off the field. His baby mama Kiki is there with their son, posting all over Instagram stories in his jersey for the whole world to see. And here's the detail that makes everything worse. Kiki's baby was born in September. Cardi's baby with Stefon was born in November, 2 months apart. So Cardi is watching her man fail on national television while his other baby mama is live posting from the same stadium. Then there's Pri, another woman allegedly connected to Stefon's past, reportedly at the Super Bowl with what looks like Patriots credentials. So now you've potentially got Kiki, Pri, and Cardi all in the same space on the same night. Then unverified reports drop claiming Stefon allegedly snuck someone into his hotel room hours after the loss. Cardi leaves the stadium right after halftime, doesn't wait for the final whistle, doesn't console him after the devastating loss, just disappears. And she had reportedly spent $1.2 million on a Super Bowl after party that never happened. $1.2 million gone, just like that. By the next morning, they've unfollowed each other on Instagram. Entertainment Tonight confirms they broke up. Cardi posts done and moves forward. Then at her LA tour stop, Cardi makes it completely official. Right in the middle of her set, while responding to rapper BIA, who'd been taking shots at Stefon, Cardi stops everything and says straight up, "Just because I ain't effing with my baby daddy doesn't mean you get to talk about my baby daddy." Confirmed the split, defended Stefon as her child's father, kept it moving. Confident, unbothered, on her own terms. That's the Cardi B we know. Now here's where the story takes a turn. Because while Cardi's been out there absolutely thriving on tour, performing for sold out crowds, posting about self-love and protecting her peace, Stefon's been dealing with the complete implosion of everything he built. NFL career in serious question. Legal issues with that strangulation charge he's fighting. Public image destroyed, being the punchline of every joke on the internet. Offset posting "I won" and being right about literally everything. 50 Cent trolling him daily. The entire world watching him fall apart in real time. And sources close to Stefon say something started shifting during this period. Because when you strip everything away, when you lose the game, the relationship, and your reputation all in one single night, and then have to sit in complete silence thinking about how it all went wrong, that's when reality hits. That's when the ego has nowhere left to hide. That's when you stop being defensive and start being honest. And according to people who've been around him, Stefon hit that wall hard. Sources describe him going through a genuinely dark period after the Super Bowl. Not the Rolling Stone post-acting unbothered energy. Not the performative social media stuff. A real, raw, private reckoning. People close to him say he started reflecting on everything. The overlapping situations, the multiple women at the Super Bowl, the $1.2 million party Cardi lost because of his choices, the fact that he told her he was different and then proved he was exactly the same. And most significantly, looking at his newborn son and thinking deeply about what kind of example he was setting. But here's the detail that sources say really broke through to Stefon. It wasn't losing the Super Bowl. It wasn't even the public humiliation. It was watching Cardi on her tour, watching her get emotional on stage and tell thousands of fans, "Don't let nobody take your happiness away from you." And knowing in his gut she was talking about what he put her through. Watching her laugh and perform and thrive and connect with her fans, and slowly realizing that she was going to be absolutely fine without him. Better than fine. She was going to flourish. And that hit different because he had apparently convinced himself she would eventually reach out, that she would miss their family and come back around. But week after week of complete silence from Cardi's side made it undeniable. She was genuinely done. And this is where things get really interesting, because according to multiple sources circulating online and close to the situation, Stefon has allegedly been working towards something significant in recent days, something that people in his circle apparently saw coming as he went deeper into this period of reflection. Word is starting to circulate that Stefon has supposedly made some kind of public acknowledgement, what some sources are calling an apology, directed at Cardi B. Now let me be clear, this hasn't been officially confirmed with a press release or verified statement, but multiple people close to the situation are suggesting that Stefon has made some form of public acknowledgement about his behavior and what Cardi went through because of his choices. And if these reports are accurate, sources say this supposed apology doesn't ask for Cardi back, doesn't try to reopen the door romantically. According to what's being suggested, Stefon apparently knows that chapter is completely closed. What this is supposedly about is something simpler but arguably more meaningful, acknowledging that he was wrong, that he disrespected her, that he broke promises he made to her, that she deserved better than what he gave her. Sources suggest it covers the Super Bowl situation, the overlapping baby mama drama, and the way he handled their relationship overall. Now the internet is divided on this supposed apology, and honestly the reactions are everything. Some people are saying even if it's real, it's too little too late, and they're not buying it. Others are saying regardless of the timing, accountability is accountability, and that deserves acknowledgement. Some people think it's purely a PR strategy to repair his image. Others think it's genuine remorse from someone who finally understands the scope of what he lost. The debate in the comment sections is absolutely wild, and everyone has an opinion. But here's what keeps coming up everywhere: the timing. Why now? Why weeks after everything fell apart? And according to sources, the honest answer is that it genuinely took this long for Stefon to process and understand what he actually did. When you're still in the middle of the chaos, it's easy to be defensive and in denial. It's easy to tell yourself she overreacted or the situation was misunderstood. But when the noise stops, when everyone around you moves on, when you're sitting alone with nothing but the consequences of your own choices, that's when you finally see clearly. And Cardi, sources say she's aware of what's being said, but publicly she has maintained complete silence about Stefon beyond that tour moment. No response, no acknowledgement, no engagement. And that silence is probably the most powerful response she could give, because Cardi doesn't need his supposed apology to justify what she already knows. She doesn't need his remorse to validate the decision she made weeks ago. She was right to leave whether he apologizes or not, and she knows that. And based on everything being reported, somewhere underneath all the fumbles and the mess, Stefon knows that too. What's really fascinating about this whole situation is how it shows the difference between two people's journeys after the same event. Cardi chose herself immediately, healed publicly through her tour, and came out stronger on the other side. Stefon took weeks of hitting rock bottom before allegedly arriving at a place of accountability. Two completely different responses to the same moment. And both of them tell you exactly who these people are. Because here's the thing about public apologies in the celebrity world. They rarely happen. Like genuinely, authentically, without a PR team scripting every word, rarely happen. Most celebrities in Stefon's position would just stay quiet, let the news cycle move on, wait for the next scandal to take the heat off them, do a couple of charity appearances, maybe post something inspirational on Instagram, and hope people forget. That's the playbook. That's what almost everyone does. So the fact that sources are suggesting Stefon went a different route, that he allegedly chose to say something publicly rather than just disappear into the off-season and pretend none of this happened, that actually means something regardless of how you feel about him. Because silence would have been easier. Silence is always easier. Saying nothing protects your ego. Saying nothing means you never have to face the judgment of millions of people watching and deciding whether your words are genuine or calculated. needed. Saying nothing is the coward's move, and it's also the most common move in these situations. Look, whether this supposed apology is real, whether it's genuine, whether it changes anything practically speaking, none of that actually matters for Cardi. She's moved on, she's thriving, she's confirmed the split on her own terms, and she's not looking back. But for Stefon, taking accountability, even supposedly, even late, even imperfectly, is probably the first step toward becoming someone who doesn't keep making the same mistakes. And honestly, that's the real story here. Not whether Cardi forgives him, but whether Stefon can forgive himself enough to actually grow. Let me know what you think in the comments.